Greetings, it is I, Shepherd Chong, and today we are doing a mod spotlight. It has absolutely nothing to do with the blocks behind me, except of course that it does. I just mess up my words sometimes, and that's okay. This particular mod is called UniDict by WanionCane. WanionCane has made a bunch of mods. Check them out. So, this mod, UniDict, it's actually pretty simple. It's fairly easy to explain what it does. It's not exactly a massive mod or anything. It's a nice little utility mod. So, if you have... Hold on. Before I get into it, I always forget to do this. What the mod is available for. Which versions of Minecraft. It is available for 1.7.10, 1.9.4, and 1.10.2. As of, this is November 2016? Yes, early November 2016. Okay, so now I'm getting into it. UniDict is a simple little utility mod. If you know your Greek, which you may or may not, UniDict, uni is one, unification, unify, that sort of word, dictionary in this case. This is a utility mod that basically makes everything one. It's again, that's not a super great explanation, but hey, whatever, I can explain it. So, if you've played a whole bunch of modded Minecraft, you know that there are a lot of mods that add basically the same thing. Behind me you can see copper. Now, I don't exactly have figures for this, but I think copper is the most commonly added metal in Minecraft mods. Seriously, most of these things are all from different mods, and they're all copper. And for the most part, mods that add their own version of things, they interact just fine. They're interchangeable most of the time, but sometimes they're not. And this mod basically fixes that. I'm using copper as an example because, again, copper is a super common thing that's added and something very easy to demonstrate with. Seriously, look at all those. Now, when I say it's easy to demonstrate, let's look at something. So, let's see. Which chest did I put these in? I think it was over here. Alright, so here are a bunch of different types of copper from various mods. Let's grab this Artifice copper, this Abyssal Craft copper, and how about this Cobble Gravel ore from Tinker's Construct? Oh, and this is in 1.7.10 world, by the way. Now, down here we have a whole bunch of machines added from various mods that involve copper. Now, normally, when you put copper ore of various types into those machines, you will get some type of copper ore, generally one relevant to that mod, as the output. And when you put them in the furnaces, just normal vanilla furnaces, you get the normal stuff, right? Well, let's put in the Abyssal Craft copper. This is what Abyssal Craft copper looks like. This is Railcraft copper, and that's Mechanism copper. They look different. So, normally, this is what you get from a furnace. When these particular mods are installed, in this case, Thermal Expansion and Thermal Foundation, that whole group of mods, even though it's in a normal furnace and it's not the Thermal Foundation, Thermal Expansion copper, you're still getting the Thermal Foundation copper. I'm using them interchangeably, and that's okay, because they're basically part of the same thing. And that's basically what UniDict does. Basically, if there is items of the same type from different mods, like copper, you can use them interchangeably, and, a bit more importantly, you will get a consistent output. Well, for example, if you've played modded Minecraft, you might know that if you put in a whole bunch of different types of copper ore, for example, in a Tinker's Construct smeltery, you will get Tinker's Construct copper. In this case, when you're using UniDict, you don't. You instead get Thermal Foundation copper. Now, why it's particularly thermal foundation when you're using thermal foundation, I'm not super good at explaining that. I'd have to look through the config files, and I don't understand that stuff. And that's why this sort of mod exists. This sort of thing, it can be done by people, anyone basically. If you know how to, you can go into the configuration files from the mods and you can basically change them around so they do stuff like this. And it's much, much easier if you're using Mindtweaker to do it. But for people like me, who have no idea how to do stuff like this mod can be very helpful. This is also a mod that's good for mod packs, simply because it makes things easier. Because, again, copper alone is super common in mods. If you had to go through Mindtweaker and just literally change everything so everything is consistent, they all do the same output, it's rather tedious. And UniDict basically takes out a lot of that work. Basically, you can get consistent outputs in big modded worlds. You've got like 100 mods, maybe 10 or 15 of them add copper, for example. Yeah, that'd be much less time. You have to go through and make sure all those recipes work with each type of copper. Instead, add UniDict and they'll do it automatically, which is actually pretty cool for mod packs. Yeah, it's definitely very time saving. Now, I've been talking about the furnace and stuff, smelteries and whatnot. But what about just basic crafting? Yep, it works here too. So, let's see an example. Let's put in Abyssal Craft Copper, Railcraft Copper, and Mechanism Copper. You get a Thermal Foundation Copper block. Okay. So, what if I take all of these out and instead use nothing but the Mechanism Copper? You still get the Thermal Foundation block. Now, that's basically what this is all about. I'm going to change it to day real quick. Okay, so now that that's back, you can see everything again. It also changes the recipes. Now, of course, I've been talking about copper. Copper isn't the only thing added by lots of mods. Now, most of the time, mods play nice with each other when it comes to their recipes needing things. Like with I just showed you with these blocks. Normally, if you didn't have UniDict on, you wouldn't be getting the thermal foundation blocks, I don't believe. Yeah, I mean, not from just using like the mechanism. For using multiple types, you'd get a specific type. How exactly that's defined, again, I'm not super sure. And that's okay, because this mod is made for this sort of thing. But basically, most of the time, mods will play nice with each other. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes they will not accept items from other mods that are equivalent to items from their mod. And again, UniDict fixes that. For example, there is an item in Mechanism called Obsidian Dust. That's something that exists in other mods, and you can use them in Mechanism machines to make, I believe it's enriched in Obsidian, I think it was. But normally it will only work with the Mechanism Obsidian Dust. UniDict fixes that. That's the example I'm trying to make. So having mentioned about all the different mods that add copper and stuff, you might be thinking, does this actually work with every mod there is? And the answer? Yeah, sort of. This can potentially work with any mod. Will it always work with any mod? I don't know. Probably. Again, this is a good little utility mod, and it is one that gets updated. Okay, sorry about that little cutoff there. I started coughing a whole bunch. So anyway, before I finish off this little mod spotlight, I believe, trying to remember everything I haven't mentioned and trying to talk about it, sort of. When it comes to the config files, there are... I don't know the proper terminology. Again, I'm not good at this. There is a code in the UniDict's config that can allow you to go in and manually change things. Again, I'm not good with this terminology, so I can't give a super great explanation for that. Can't get super technical with that. But you can change it to, instead of just affecting things that are normally added through mods, maybe if there is something that isn't being affected, if there's maybe one standout mod that for whatever reason isn't being affected, you can go into UniDict's config and you can change it so that is affected. Again, not super technical with that. And okay. Yes, I do remember something else. There is a special command, I suppose, added by UniDict. Let's see if I can come up with a good explanation for this. Let's see, how can I demonstrate this? Here, stairs made out of copper. Okay. If I use NEI or JEI, if you're using 1.9 or 1.10 version of this, if I go to recipe mode for this. Oh, no, I guess it wasn't a good example. Huh. Okay. I'll try something else then. Let me see here. I'm continuing with this copper trend just because. Here we go. A gear. Now, you've probably seen this before if you've used NEI or JEI. Basically, when there are mods that add interchangeable items to recipes, like copper. This is a copper gear. It's made out of 4 copper ingots and 1 iron ingot. You can use any combination from the mods that you want, and it will create the same thing. Now, the command again, I don't really know if it's properly called a command. Basically, when it cycles through items like this, there is a command in UniDict that will instead show a single recipe from a specific type. Just like if you went into, say, normal, let's show recipe for jungle planks. Instead of getting a whole bunch of, well, this isn't exactly a super great example, it would basically just show a static recipe with only a specific items for showing it how to do it. So instead of those coppers cycling back and forth, it would only show one specific type of copper. Now I have been shown that at the moment this command might mess things up a little bit. So yeah, use that on your own caution. You can find that command as well as that other command I mentioned in the links to find these mods. They're in the descriptions of the mods. So again, I'm not super great at getting too technical with this stuff. So yeah, you're probably gonna have better luck figuring out from there. Because again, I'm not a technical person with Minecraft, unfortunately. Well, this has been a nice little mod called UniDict. Nice little thing for mod packs, even just for normal playthrough without mod packs. UniDict by WanionCane. I am Shepherd Sean. Goodbye. So I've just finished making the UniDict mod spotlight, and there was one thing unusual I've encountered that actually has nothing to do with UniDict. I have encountered this thing in worlds without UniDict, so if you're using UniDict and this happens to you, it's not UniDict's fault. UniDict does not actually affect ores. It does not affect ore generation or any other type of material generation in the world. Something I don't think I remembered to put in. I might throw this part in as an extra, actually, now that I'm thinking about this. Yeah, that's actually sort of important now that I'm thinking about it. But yeah, the whole thing with a whole bunch of different types of copper, sometimes weird stuff happens. Like this. This is Artifice copper. This is Abyssalcraft copper. Look what happens when I mine this. It turned into Thermal Foundation copper. Yeah, I don't know why it does that. Here, and just by comparison, Mechanism copper, it's still Mechanism copper. Why the artifice copper turned into thermal foundation copper, I don't know. This has nothing to do with UniDict. That's just something that happens sometimes. I don't know what's up with that. Might have something to do with Artifice. I don't know. Artifice is 1.7.10 only. No, wait. It hasn't been updated past 1.7.10. Okay, yeah. So again, something for a post-script sort of thing. UniDict does not affect ore generation or anything like that in the world. No, it only affects recipes in crafting tables and through various types of machines. Yeah, okay. Goodbye now.